This. Oh, yeah. All that rhythm, clanking and banging, and sometimes getting hurt. Thinking that banging on something. Banging on something. Funny, I'm turning my personal volume down on the music instead of broadcast.
I mean, it was
I don't know if
banging,
any of you
that's
heard
for
any of
sure.
that. It doesn't matter. Hey, everybody. Dan here with Janice, PT extraordinaire out of Los Angeles, California. Only works with musicians, but the information could be good for you civilians as well. Civilians, yeah, music fans who aren't
What?
musicians.
There are people who aren't musicians in the world?
There's like three. I think there's three
Oh,
left.
got it,
Yeah,
got it,
and
got
I'm
it.
trying to sign them up
3
for drum
left.
lessons. So, hey, how you doing?
I'm good, how are you?
Good, good. Happy to be going into a busy weekend. I'm emceeing an event in Miami, Arizona, in a natural
Great.
amphitheater at someone's house. And it's an
Oh, that's
open
fun.
mic. Yeah, it's going to be fun. And I didn't think my wife was even going to go. And it's for 6 hours. We can't leave the dogs
Oh
alone
my
that long.
gosh.
But the gentleman has like a shuttle service and he lives in this weird, windy area. And she's not driving there. But he said, just I'll send the shuttle for you. So she surprised
Wow.
me yesterday and said, hey, I want to come and I'll stay for an hour or so. And let's do a couple songs together. I'm like, really? So we used to
Cool.
do these open mics and I would play like one of my darbukas or a djembe and she would sing a song and it's a lot of fun. So I'm excited to be doing that with her. We
Oh,
haven't
that's
done that in
awesome.
ages.
That'll be really fun.
Yeah. So folks, anyone in and around the Phoenix area or all the way east of us in Safford, look up John Papalardo on Facebook and come join us in Miami, Arizona. That's what the old timers that live there call it, Miami.
Miami?
Last time I looked, there was no UH at the end. It's an I, as in Miami. Anyhow,
All right.
so folks, if you have questions about any kind of repetitive motion injury, even if it's not from playing an instrument, but all of us who play instruments, whether it's guitar, bass, saxophone, flute, harp, piano, keyboards, drums, we're prone to injuries. It's not a matter of how well we take care of ourselves, but there are preventative measures that you can take. And we've been doing this together like 3 years now. And
Oh my gosh,
geez,
has it really been that
I
long?
think so. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow, that's
He didn't know off
crazy.
the top of his head to the day. So he might chime in and let us know.
Wow.
But like what? And folks, tell us where you're watching from, and feel free to chime in on any of these topics. And a quick shout out to the first one to chime in with where they are is Round a Coin in Norman, Glaucoma. Norman, Glaucoma? I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Let's give him a shout out on screen. There you go. Hey, Randall, thanks for joining us. But Janice, what are some of the things we've covered over the years? And
Oh
I don't think we can
man,
cover anything
we
too
covered
much.
a lot of fun stuff too, and like I
Yeah.
think part of it's come from, suggestions or questions that people have had. But I mean, I think a really popular one is obviously talking about posture. Anytime someone hears that I'm a PT, they immediately like sit up straight as if like as if they like think that I'm judging them, and maybe I am, but like that's not.
It's like, oh, you meet a dentist, you're afraid to smile.
Yeah, you don't wanna, like, have them think about your teeth or anything like that, so, yeah, anytime someone hears I'm a PT, like, they automatically sit taller or, move a little bit better. It's pretty funny. I just saw a meme that I, like, posted on Instagram the other day of, like, someone sitting in the airport and just, like, people watching and, like, watching how they're walking or how they're moving, and that's, like, totally me. Like, I can't turn it off, and anytime I'm, like, at a mall or in the airport and like I see something that's a little bit interesting in terms of how people are moving, like I can't help myself but kind of think about why. But yeah, so we've talked about posture a lot. We've talked about back pain and elbow pain and carpal tunnel and hip
Yeah.
pain.
Sciatica,
Couple
bursitis.
sciatica, bursitis. A couple of not weeks, man, it feels like weeks. A couple of months ago, we talked about like how to improve how much time you play or how intent like how to do that safely. I know we've talked
Without
about that.
overloading, right?
Not overload, yeah, so progressive overloading, kind of like things that I advise people on how to do, like, if they're coming back from an injury, how do you get back to playing? Or if you want to play more, how do you do that in a safe way to avoid getting tendonitis or any of those overuse injuries in general? So, I mean,
Right.
we've kind of covered a lot of stuff.
Yeah. We should
I'm pretty
open a
impressed with
practice.
ourselves, right?
Yeah. Um, Today and folks, you can ask about anything or tell your story, how you got past something, if you feel you're going into something, if you're in the middle of experiencing something, or how you avoided something. But we're going to start by talking about the neck. And the neck can be susceptible to injury for all kinds of reasons, regardless of what kind of musician you are. Janice, you've told me stories about playing the violin and
Oh,
clients
yeah.
that you've had, and the viola, of course. For drummers, our posture, and any musician headbanging,
Yeah.
especially flute and alto saxophone players. Headbanging is a big thing with wood
Yeah.
and clarinet and the Dixieland music. Oh my God, they're into the goth headbanging Dixieland. Oh yeah. So
God.
let's let's talk about the neck, maybe starting with the muscles. And from your experience, where in the neck do injuries seem to occur most often amongst drummers? And if you don't have it narrowed down to drummers, amongst most musicians, and it could even be just violinists or whatever you found. Let's start muscular and then work in from there.
I'll take it a step further. I'll just say, like, humans in general.
Oh, there you go. I like that. Yeah. Well, we
Well, I
have
mean,
we have 11 kids and they're a pain in the neck. Well, all except the one who's producing this show right now, Steven.
so this can be like the Steve muscle. No, I'm just kidding. Um, no, so I mean, I say humans because you think about the activities that we do on a daily basis, and this could be from, like, starting from a young age, like grade school age, all the way up. Like, think about the positions we're in. We're in, like, a certain position when we're looking at our phones, we're sitting in front of a computer. It could extend to pianists, you're sitting in front of a keyboard, or drummers, you're sitting in front, like, of a drum kit. Like, everything's kind of like forward and in front of you, right?
Right.
And so people kind of tend to go into that slouch position or that shrimp position, right? Their necks kind of like go forward. So if I turn to the side, you're kind of
Yeah.
like this, right? Um, and so oftentimes in, like, the PT world, we think about, okay, well, how are these postures or how are these positions affecting our bodies?
Right.
And you know how, like, when we're little, I mean, I know a lot of parents tell this to their kids, like, okay, if you make that face, your face is gonna freeze that way, right?
Right.
So, I mean, there's a little bit of truth to that, and not in the sense that your face is gonna freeze, but, like, your body kind of adapts to the positions that you're in the most. So think of it this way. So, like, if you're in this kind of your typical slouch position, your body kind of naturally thinks, oh, well, this is how I need to function. This is the range of motion that I need. I don't need to be in this other position, this more upright position. I just
And-
need to learn how to be strong and
Right.
efficient in this position.
And it's going to activate its own muscle memory, right? And that becomes the
Yeah.
norm.
Exactly, and so then you actually can get muscle adaptations where certain muscles can get shorter or tighter, and
Oh,
other
wow.
muscles, because of the positions that you're in, they kind of go through this, like, constant or prolonged stretch, and so those other muscles get stretched out over time. And so usually people who sit in front of a computer, musicians a lot, and this also kind of translate to our headbangers too, because they're kind of the same muscle groups that are affected.
Right.
We're mostly talking about this large muscle here, which is the upper trapezius. The trapezius has three portions. So you have the upper, middle, and lower. But most people will have, like, this upper trap area get tight. If we
Yeah.
peel that away, so, like, if we take this muscle away, let me see if I can access it. You have this other muscle here that's kind of highlighted on the right side. This one called the levator scapula, and those two muscles usually work in tandem,
Uh-huh.
um, because they end up, like, kind of shrugging our shoulders up.
Mm.
Um, or if our necks are in this forward kind of extended position, those muscles also get tighter. Those go on slack. And then you also think about one more thing I'll say about those muscles. If you think about it, a lot of times people will tell me I get a lot of neck pain or a lot of neck tension when I get stressed out.
Oh,
Right? You've heard that, right? It's like
yeah,
sometimes
I've
a lot of people will
experienced it.
kind of just like rub their necks here, or they'll
Oh,
be
yeah, that
really,
happens
really
to
tight.
me. Yeah.
And so that also could be coming from kind of like this kind of reaction, or kind of like this what am I trying to say? Like a reflex.
Okay.
And so if you think back to like caveman days, where we're like literally fighting our survival for our survival, like not to get eaten by a lion, right?
Right.
Or you think about an animal, if they're trying to protect themselves, what are they going to try and protect from? Or
Yeah.
what areas of their body are they going to protect?
Definitely face,
They're going
head.
to
Yeah.
face, head, neck,
Neck.
and their abdomen,
Yeah.
right? They
Right.
kind of go into this slouch position.
Right.
And so we also have that, even though we've evolved. I mean, some people questionably, but like we've evolved to the point. But this kind of like ancient reflex still can be true. Like if you think someone's gonna like punch you in the face, you're automatically gonna kind of brace yourself this
Yeah.
way. And if you go into this fight or flight kind of reaction, same thing. People will naturally try and like protect this area
Right.
because they perceive danger, right?
Yeah.
They don't
And it's
know
vulnerable.
it's vulnerable. And
Yeah.
so a lot of times when people have stress, whether it's emotional stress or physical stress, a lot of that times these muscles here will kind of
Oh.
contract to relatively protect themselves from
Oh, that's
perceived danger,
that it's in our
right?
DNA from tens of
Yeah.
thousands of years ago to be a protectant.
Right. So it could be
Yeah.
that you have
Huh.
picture perfect posture, but then maybe you're under a lot of stress, or maybe, something else externally might be contributing to it. So
Mhm.
your body will hold this tension, and then ultimately contribute. When it holds tension, the muscles contract. And so when the muscles contract, they shorten. And so this could be areas, just like when we have poor posture, where you have some tension or tightness within the muscle itself.
And all of that can, of course, lead to headaches, right?
Yeah, yeah. So it's very, very common, or it's like commonly understood, that muscles here. So there's a bunch of like trigger points that are along different muscles, and like there's a whole book like on my bookshelf over there, um, where they've like mapped out like, okay, if you push on a certain area, and like people will commonly describe them as knots, like, oh, I have a knot in my neck.
Right.
Right? And so if you push on that spot, it might be tender in that area, but it also might refer pain kind of into the head or into the
Oh.
face. Even here, like the muscles, the temporalis muscle, which is a jaw muscle, it
Mhm.
actually lifts the jaw up. If you have tension in here, or you like clench your jaw a lot, it can actually refer pain kind of like into the face, or like behind the eye, those kind of
Oh,
things.
wow. Is that, by the
Um,
way, is that what causes, I forgot what it stands for, but TMJ?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
TMJ stands for the temporal mandibular joint. So
Okay.
temporal, so the temporal bone, that's a parietal bone. Temporal, well, it's in here somewhere. Temporal bone, and then the mandible, and then the joint. So the junction in which the two move upon each other.
So if
So that's what TMJ stands for.
okay, so a drummer who clenches a lot over time, can they be causing that?
Yeah, so TMJ is just a joint itself. So, like, if you're
Okay.
really gonna say, so like, if you have jaw pain, kind of the acronym for that would be like TMD, temporal mandibular joint dysfunction.
Okay.
So TMD or TMJ problems, TMJ pain. Yeah. So yes, it could be coming from any of the muscles that attach. Because if the muscles are tight, or they're pulling, or they're engaged, they're going to cause compression within this little space right here.
Mm,
So that's common, or the joint itself could be painful. Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So yeah, you want me to kind of continue on the tour, or any other
Yeah.
any other talking points?
Yeah, the one thing about the back is I have a I have a headache chart that has 6 or 9, something like that, squares, and it shows different types of headaches. It's like inflamed
Yeah.
in red. And I made a meme that we post on Trump Talk TV every year that shows these headaches, and one's this, one's hypertension, one's this, and the last one where the whole head is inflamed, it says the NAM show. Being at the NAM show. But
Oh my
anyway,
gosh, seriously, the NAM show is like so overstimulating in so
yeah.
many ways.
But what this makes me think of is hypertension is shown in the back. And we mentioned tension and how those muscles clench up for protection. Is that what's causing that headache often? The fact that those muscles get tight back there? Is that
So
related?
no, no,
Okay.
I would say not.
Okay.
So there are things that you can use to kind of help you decipher, or kind of help, like that I use in my clinic to help decipher where the source of the headache might be coming from. So typically when we're talking about like some kind of pain referred from a muscle, usually if it's just one side of the muscle, it'll be on the same side of the face,
Oh, okay.
if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you have tension, like, you have tiny muscles. Let me just peel away some stuff. Hide this. Let me hide this. So sometimes you have like tension in these little muscles here, and they could be on both sides. And so sometimes you might have pain on both sides, but usually if we're just talking about muscles, it's usually one-sided. If it's hypertension, or like, okay, so hypertension, I think what you're meaning is like high blood pressure, right?
That's what I was just gonna ask.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
That's
So
probably what it is. Yeah.
yeah, so hypertension refers to high blood pressure, and
Oh,
so usually hypertension, if someone had really high blood pressure, it would be on both sides, like it would be both sides of their face.
mhm.
Um, And I can't remember exactly where it would be, but it would be more related to, like, if you've gone on a walk and you start to feel like any kind of activity that potentially elevates your blood pressure,
Mm.
um, the headache may be correlated to that activity versus like if I if it were just muscle and I pushed, let's say, in this area here, and it increased the pain in the face here, then that I might think, okay, maybe it's a little bit more linked to the muscle itself
Mm.
versus like if it were from hypertension, it would be there no matter what. Like,
Right. That makes
so
sense.
there are things that can trigger, like migraines is another source of like headache where not much of like what I'll do, like pushing along muscles, can increase it or decrease it, because
Mhm.
migraine is a vascular problem, within the brain, or vascular issue, not necessarily a problem. And then there are other kinds of headaches, that that kind of have different referral patterns. So yeah, I mean those maps are very real. Hypertension would be like, it would depend on how the headaches behave more
Mm.
so than like the location of it.
Interesting.
But location is a good place to start, and
Yeah.
that way you can like ask questions or kind of think about, what triggers it or what makes things worse.
Right. Interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
What's are there cures for like that muscle getting super, super tight, or is it a time thing, or it's breathing, just relaxing?
Yeah, I mean, kind of maybe all of that. So, like, if it's coming from stress, right, which we talked about, um, then trying to find kind of stress relieving mechanisms, whether it's even like temporary or permanent. Like,
Mhm.
so kind of thinking about why is your stress reaction being triggered in the first place, um, and then also, but there are things that you can do to stretch out the muscles so that hopefully they're not contracted all the time or they're not short all the time.
Mhm.
So kind of tilting your head to the opposite side and pulling down towards your knee, is a really good place to start in terms of like trying to elongate some of these muscles. I'll bring it back. Let me see if I can bring back some of the. I'm kind of like dancing around. Let's see. Okay, so if you tilt your head to the right, so if we're looking at the left neck of this person and this muscle is tight, if you tilt it away, you're going to put a little bit of more stretch on these muscles here. So that's a pretty simple thing. And a lot of people kind of naturally do it, or they kind of already have it built into their routine. I would say if you've been practicing or playing for a period of time, like 30 minutes, 45 minutes, or if you're sitting in front of a computer, or if you've been playing on the piano for a period of time, those muscles usually kind of get in a shortened position anyways, just either from the posture or the stress or any other factor. And so kind of doing a gentle stretch, usually like 30 seconds or so, might just kind of help open up that area, kind of get those muscles to relax temporarily. So most people need this stretch, actually, I would say. It's not unique to musicians, although I feel like musicians are very special people, but I think it's unique to being human, just because we use these muscles all the time.
Yeah. And you want to always, as much as you can, folks, avoid playing with any kind of injury, or you're going to prolong it and even can aggravate it and make it worse.
Yeah. So, I mean, any kind of like tension here, most oftentimes is kind of like a ongoing, not to say that you have neck pain, you're going to be doomed to be dealing with this forever, but it's like, this is an area that most people should be doing from a maintenance perspective anyways, just because we use these muscles so much. Even if you have good posture, you're still it's not to say that you shouldn't be using these muscles. It's just how much you're using these muscles. Yeah.
So what's happening when people say they have a pinched nerve? I think most people know what that feels like. It feels like a nerve is being pinched. What exactly is going on there? Is it the same thing we're talking about, or are there different things that happen in the same area?
There's a lot of different things that can happen in the same area, or it could be multiple things happening in the same area.
Okay.
So when people have a pinched nerve, especially like coming from the neck, so anytime someone has a pinched nerve or nerve symptoms, let's just kind of put that broadly. So whether it's in your arms or your legs or in your back, usually what people will be describing is kind of like either like numbness or tingling or even like aching, but like the kind of aching is not like a sore muscle kind of ache. It's kind of like if you ever had a toothache or like a cavity or something where your tooth is irritated, or you went to the dentist and had some work done and like they hit the nerve in your tooth and you're like, like there's
it just triggered me.
Horrible. Or if you like whack your funny bone on like on a table.
Don't get me started with that.
Did you know that that's actually you hitting a nerve?
Yeah.
Hitting their funny bone?
Yeah.
And I might have told you this, or I might have said this before. Do you know why it's called the funny bone?
Because it's the humerus bone.
Yeah. So the bone that the funny bone is under, or it kind of goes through,
right in there,
is the humerus. Right.
Yeah. You may remember when we covered that once, I told the story of, I won't tell the whole story, but the story of hitting a ceiling and coming right down on a stovetop burner.
I remember that.
And because of that, so let's see, I was probably 17. I'll be 63 in a week and a half as we're broadcasting.
You still remember
it is still so sensitive. If I just barely bump it and that nerve gets touched, it's like, I make up new cuss words.
So this is the area. This is the funny bone area.
Right there.
And you can see that there's like nothing padding it. It's just bone and nerve. And so if you whack that area, it's not a pleasant experience. So anyways, like anytime you're talking about like a nerve symptom, is that kind of like pain, like that achy, just really uncomfortable. You can't really pinpoint it kind of pain. But yeah, so looking at the neck, if we have like a pinched nerve coming from the neck, let's kind of zoom in a little bit. Where it might be coming from. Let me hide some stuff. Hide. So if we look, let me hide this stuff. Okay. So if you see this, these are like the bones of our neck, right? You have 7 segments of your spine, at least in the neck. And the same is true for the rest of the spine, but between every segment of your spine, you have one little nerve that shoots out from your spinal cord. So the role of the spine is to help you move, but it also helps protect the spinal cord. Once it comes from the brain, goes to the spinal cord, and then you have these offshoots.
Right.
And so the spine protects the spinal cord, but then it's kind of like the pathway kind of comes out from the spine. So you can kind of see that from the front here, right? You can see each of the little offshoots as they come out here and here and here. And so the nerves can actually get stuck at a couple different places. So the first place it could get stuck is kind of the space in between the spine where they come out. And how it gets stuck is like if you're in this extended position here or here, the hole that the nerve comes out gets narrower. So if you have bone spurs or like arthritis, we were talking about like spine arthritis earlier. What happens is that the bone here, if it has arthritis, like you could have like bone spurs or it just kind of gets narrower. So that means that anytime you look up or turn your head side to side, that space could get even smaller, which is, and if the nerve gets pinched, then it could irritate the nerve a bit. You can also have, like we talked about, disc problems before. So in between each segment of the spine, you have a disc that seems to be missing right now, but you have a little pad that fits in between every level of the disc. And so if you have like a disc herniation or a disc bulge, as some people like to call it, those bulges can kind of push into that space where the nerve is coming out of and can kind of squish it a little bit. Further down, if we look here, like all the nerves that go into the arm, we zoom out, all the nerves that go into the arm kind of have to also, travel through this area here.
Oh yeah.
And so if you have tightness in the chest, like in the pecs, or if you look at like your rib here, if the rib is sitting a little higher, it can actually compress or kind of put pressure on the nerves, and then you can actually end up getting nerve-related pain that's coming from the neck region. So those are pretty common places where, at least in the neck region, where those nerves can kind of get caught up or restricted.
There we go. Folks, do you have any questions? Or live? Well, right now we're live. If you're watching this later, it's archived, but we're live now on Facebook and YouTube. Do you have any questions about any of this? And so far, no. I'm surprised.
Yeah, usually we have a couple, one or two.
Yeah, but this is great. We've never really covered the neck in such detail.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, like I see a decent amount of neck-related pain or nerve pain that may be stemming from the neck, even though they might have symptoms like similar to like carpal tunnel or something like that. My job as a PT is to make sure that, okay, maybe you do have kind of the nerve getting caught up in the carpal tunnel, but my job also is to make sure it's not getting caught up somewhere else. Because if we only address the carpal tunnel, it might get a little bit better, but it's not going to get all the way better until we kind of free up the mobility of the nerve elsewhere. So there's a whole path that you kind of have to follow if you get pain in the arm or the elbow. It might be in this area, but it could also be coming from somewhere much higher up.
Did you ever work with someone who had such a bad neck ailment that they were kind of, came into your office like this?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I've seen a lot in my in my day. Because I've been doing this for almost 16 years now.
Wow.
So I've seen a neck or two.
And people are probably wondering, and I am, in this case, hot or cold? Do you heat it or ice it? Or both?
You could do either. So the common advice that I'll give someone, if, especially if they ask this question, is both ice and heat are really great for muscles. The only
Mhm.
time I wouldn't necessarily use heat is if you have like a really acute injury or you
Mhm.
have swelling in that area.
Oh, yeah.
That would really be the only time. But when in doubt, you can use ice because both ice and heat, if you have like a muscle spasm, let's say that, those same muscles that we were just talking about are just
Yeah.
really tight or it's like in spasm. And so you can actually use either hot or cold to help ease that spasm. Both
Mhm.
have been shown to be effective. I would say if you're looking to improve the length of the muscle, right? Let's say that these muscles are tight and you just want to kind of like stretch it out, just in general. Or like if you have tight hamstrings, for example, um, doing heat first before you do a stretch is
Oh,
really a nice time to do that because it increases or improves the elasticity of those tissues. Or you can like run hot water like during a shower or something like that for, like a couple minutes, 5 minutes, before you
interesting.
do a stretch. You could do it that way as well. So heat would be really good if you're looking to improve, you know, tissue mobility.
Mhm.
Um, both are great for pain control and muscle spasm. And the only time I wouldn't use heat necessarily is if you have a lot of swelling. Like if you like
Right.
hurt your knee and you have like the knee is puffy looking, I probably wouldn't put heat over that puffy area,
Yeah.
because what that does is it dilates the blood vessels and it brings more fluid into the area. So it could,
Yeah.
make the knee more swollen, if you use heat.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great neck lesson, folks. And if you're watching on the archive, go ahead and leave comments anyways. We check back and look at this stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was great. Thanks, Janice.
Yeah, of course.
Tell everybody how they can follow you or get a hold of you.
Yeah, so you could find me mostly on Instagram. That's where I live most of the time. At opus_PT. I'm on Facebook as well. That handle is opusptp. Or you can find me through my website at opuspt.com.
There you go.
There we
All right.
go.
Thanks, everybody, so much for following Janice and I here on Drumming Injury Talk once a month and all the other crazy stuff on Drum Talk TV. And if you're not familiar with a lot of stuff we've done, go to the YouTube channel, look through it. Go to the Facebook page, look through it. Go to Instagram and look through it. And you can go to drumtalktv.com and see our documentaries and interviews from over 13 and a half years. And you can go to YouTube, see the same thing. And go to drumtalktvbrilliance.com. We made a big announcement today. So find the news desk report from earlier today and go to drumtalktvbrilliance.com. You'll learn about it there as well. Thanks, everybody. Hang on the line with me, Janice.
Yeah.
Thanks, folks.